Okay, hey everybody, what's up? My name is Courtney. If you're new here, welcome back to my channel. I talk about astrology, spirituality, personal development things, and everything going on inside of my head. Today, I wanted to talk about the meaning of belonging. Why? Because the world needs to know this. So a while back I was doing, I'm going to bring this back actually, but I was doing like little segments of talking about certain words in the spiritual community, and I want to do the same thing for, I guess, what we would call like personal development topics or like buzzwords. And you know, I do a lot of things through my intuition. And so today for the last like week and a half, I keep getting this message, talk about belonging, talk about belonging, talk about belonging. So guides, I hear you, okay? I'm gonna talk about belonging now. So if you're interested in this, stay tuned. And all I ask is to come with an open mind and open heart, and let's get into it. All right, I've got my computer here, so if you're new to these little segments, what I do is put up like a little definition of what I found, and I'm gonna riff on it. Because Spirit has been bringing this through for me so strongly, I can already tell that there's some channeling that needs to go on, and that's what this is all about. But I wanna start by saying this is intended to reach the people that obviously it's meant to. It's intended to open up all of our minds, our hearts, and to be viewed at a different level of consciousness. When we belong, what does that mean? What does it mean for you to belong? Like, what does that truly mean? That is your invitation throughout this video. Brene Brown is my freaking girl. Love Brene. She's a Scorpio. Brene Brown is amazing. I relate to her on so many levels in regards to her talking about vulnerability, compassion, empathy, all the things that no one wants to talk about, which is very Scorpio. Hi. I will do that as well. I think it's so interesting, especially in the time that we're living in right now. So you can look up the definition of belonging literally on Google and find it, but I want to read Brene Brown's. This is what her share was on true belonging. True belonging is the spiritual practice of believing in and belonging to yourself so deeply that you can share your most authentic self with the world. Find sacredness in both being a part of something and standing alone in the wilderness. Reading that just gives me chills, because as an Aquarius, as somebody who has her sun in the 12th house, Saturn in the 12th house, oftentimes I can stand in a room full of people and I can be very extroverted, but I feel really alone. And, you know, loneliness is something that I'm very used to in my life, but it happens more when I'm around people who I don't feel like understand me, where I feel like I can't be myself. In places, in community where I feel like I can be myself, such as online, across the globe, I feel more connected because I get to be who I am. I wanted to bring this up for a few reasons, because I think the world that we live in right now, everyone is trying to find where they belong. We've all been rocked. We've all had our worlds turned upside down. Things have changed. You know, we're walking around and trying to find our own footing in our communities and what is true to us and where do we fit in and where do we belong. But belonging doesn't come from what other people say we're belonging. It's when we're so tapped into who we freaking are, that is when we belong. Because like what that Brene is saying is, it's like when you are so yourself, when you show up to the external world as exactly who you are, you magnify and you attract other people into your life you just belong because you get to be yourself. So imagine if in every relationship you got to just be you. You know, obviously we go through relationships in our life where we don't really get to fully be ourselves because we're learning who we are. That's a big portion of being in your 20s. But then you get to a point where you're like, who am I? Like, who is Courtney? Who is Susan? Who is Joseph? You know, like, who is whoever? And you got to ask these questions, because if you don't know who you are, you simply cannot belong in the world. That's my experience. And I feel like what Brene is saying is, it's like a spiritual practice of believing and belonging to yourself. That is true belonging. When we know who we are and when we share ourselves unapologetically with the world, we belong no matter where we are, because here is us. Here is home. here is where we are. This kind of leads me into my next little riff, and please don't take this offensively. I'm going to use my own experiences and my thoughts around this. I feel like with the division that's happening in the world right now, I am very curious if people are making their decisions based off of belonging, wanting to belong, wanting to fit in, wanting to do the right thing, wanting to not be ostracized, judged, canceled, you name it, in order to belong. Human beings are wired to belong. Their belonging equals safety, because the opposite would mean you're excluded from the group, the tribe. And by that I mean way back in the day when we had tribes, and if you spoke out of turn, if you questioned, you were out. So now with the division happening around the world, no matter what aspect, everything is being divided. My question is that I keep asking myself, and why I think this is coming up, is am I making a choice for me, for my true sense of who I am and what I value, or am I making a choice based on what I feel like I'm supposed to do because that's what other people want me to do? And this requires self-awareness. It requires getting really uncomfortable and asking questions that a lot of people don't want to ask. It's requiring getting really friggin' honest with not only myself, but the state of the world, looking at things in a deeper way. I'm going to say this again. True belonging is a spiritual practice of believing in and belonging to yourself. If I belong to myself truly, then it doesn't matter who excludes me, right? When I was at the Freedom Rally a couple weeks ago, and if that's not something that you believe in, that's totally okay. But I went because I wanted to hear what they had to say. And somebody looked at me and they were like, welcome to the family. And that actually felt really nice, because somebody who believes in similar things to me said, welcome to the family. They saw me. I put myself in a place where my values and opinions and beliefs were seen and reciprocated. Putting myself in a situation that feels like I'm going to be going against, people are going to be coming at me, and maybe I have to defend myself or shrink who I am or turn my light down, that feels scary, because that means I won't belong, because that means I'm going to have to feel the consequences of not believing in the same thing as that person. But if I really truly had a sense of belonging in myself, that wouldn't matter. I would hold my head high. I would walk around proud and just be who I am and just say my truth and speak my languages and share my opinions with the world while having compassion for those who maybe aren't on the same side or whatever. Because maybe the sense of belonging of us and belonging to who we are then sees other people as they are and allows them to belong as they are. Does that make any sense? I don't know. But I think what I'm trying to say is true belonging is understanding who the frig you are and just showing up that way and seeing other people for the exact same way. We've been taught and told that in order to belong, we have to change who we are. In order to fit in, we have to close down our throat chakras. We have to repress our feelings and emotions. In order to belong in the world, it means you need to do what other people say to you, what they want, what's best for you, what's best for everyone. But what if that is not what you truly want for you? And this isn't just about the world. It's how we've grown up. It's how we've been raised. It's how do A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and you will belong. Get married by 20, you will belong. Buy the house, you will belong. Do all these things, hit all these milestones. But what happens if that's not you? Just food for thought. And I wanted to riff on this because I think knowing we are in the age of Aquarius, knowing I am an Aquarius, and one of my biggest missions in life is, to just see people as they are for their differences. And even their differences, meaning that we can all be different and one and the same. I think I just want to bring awareness to the fact of are you choosing something because you're scared of the repercussions, so you are choosing it because you want to belong, or are you genuinely choosing it because it's something you want for yourself? Isn't just about the division in the world. It's about everything in life. Are you choosing a career for you, or are you choosing a career because someone said it's a good thing to do? Are you choosing that relationship because you genuinely love them, or are you choosing that relationship because they're good on paper? Are you choosing to buy a big home because that's what society says you should do, or are you choosing to buy that big home because you want to fill it with love, because you want to have a lot of kids, because it fulfills you? What are you choosing? Because belonging comes when you are truly and honestly yourself. True belonging. When you're your most authentic self, as Brene Brown says here, when you share your most authentic self with the world and find sacredness in being both part of something and standing alone in the wilderness. I've never heard of a more Aquarian statement ever. Can you be brave enough to stand alone and yet belong in who you are? I also heard Gary Vee say this. I will pop this over here. If I can find the TikTok, I'll find it and put it in here. But he said, if being himself has consequences, he would choose being himself every single time of the consequences. That is true belonging. And if people have a problem with that, it's because we're reflecting something back to them that they're not doing in their own selves. We're all mirrors to one another. Food for thought for today. I just wanted to get that out. Spirit was loud. They were like, girl, you gotta talk about true belonging and the brave and the Brene Brown definition. No other, because we love Brene. So anyway, I will leave that here today. I would love to know your thoughts and opinions on this, of course. As always, please be kind. That is where I will leave it. I want you to know that anytime someone is in the presence of me, I just want you to be exactly who you are and do only the things that feel good and authentic to you, because that is one of the most important things to me. Be yourself. Be your own person. Be who you came here to be. You are important. The world needs you, not a replica of somebody else. That's what I'll say on that. Don't forget to live your dreams and like, comment, subscribe, of course. Love you guys, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.